All right. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, everyone. So, hello everyone, and welcome to our Trent International Mini Open House. So as people are still coming, I would like to welcome you to our Trent International Mini Open House. So we are super excited to welcome you to our section tonight. And thank you all of you for taking your precious time on Saturday night from Southeast Asia and South Asia. So just start with some introductions. My name is Helena and I'm international recruiter. I'm based in Vietnam. And I also work closely and support students from Southeast Asia. And joins with me today, we have two colleagues from Karam and Felix. So Karam and Felix, could you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah, hi. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Helena. Hi, everyone. My name is Khurram, and I'm the International Recruitment Officer for South Asia. And I welcome you all today for the open house. And I pass it over to Felix, who's my colleague, looks after mainland China.
Thank you, Khurram. I'm Felix, everyone, and I'm the representative of China. So I'm in charge of the recruitment activities in mainland China. And welcome, everyone. Thank you. Over to Helena.
Thank you, Felix. So our sections today, we will have many special guests, and we have our faculty and the student to share experience about Trent University. So all of the things that you would like to know about Trent University, you would know today. First of all, I would like to welcome Ms. Glynis Byrne. She's Glynis Byrne is our Trent International leader, and Glynis also the character by herself for Trent to take every conservation that happened on campus and as an eye in front of international. She's believed that it is a paramount that we support our own post-secondary students to recognize the value of international experience. Before arriving at Trent, Glynis Byrne spent 26 years as a register manager of recruiter and administrator and director of international. She has always been interested in collaborating internationally and projects which bring together partners from all around the world. As our AVPs, international clinics aspire to enhance global relationships in a way that center our student experience. So, clinics, could you like to give our lovely guests today a welcome remark?
Thank you so much, Helena, for those words. I want to welcome everybody to our session today. It is a privilege to see you. I know there's a lot of names on here and not a lot of students on cameras, but you're welcome to go on camera so that we can see your faces and put a name to a face. We're happy to, and we enjoy seeing that. If you want to put in the chat where everybody is joining us from today, that's always fun to see where everybody is calling in from. I am located right now in Peterborough, and you can see behind me the Peterborough Campus. And if you look at Adele Okubo, Adele, if you'd like to wave. Adele, she is at the Durham campus, and her screen shows the brand new residence that we have at the Durham campus. Welcome everybody. I am not going to take up a lot of your time because I know there's people here that you'll want to hear from. I did want to welcome you to the session and let you know that Trent University, #1 undergraduate university in Ontario. So we have an excellent reputation in education. In terms of our size, I love the size of Trent University. It's big enough and it's small enough. So large enough that you'll have a big array of classes to choose from and an amazing campus to be part of, but small enough that you're going to let and get to know your professors. And you're going to meet one of those, one of our professors today. 95% of our grads are employed within 2 years, so we do put a huge focus on ensuring that students are employable. You're going to hear from Juliana and Ryan today about opportunities for job opportunities. We're top in scholarships. I know that's always a big topic when we chat today, so a little bit of information that we'll give you about scholarships. But last I want to leave you with is that we are a home away from home for you. We are your Trent family. You're just meeting a few of us today, and a lot of people, you know, Felix and Helena and Krum are living in other countries closer to you, but your Trent family on our 2 campuses are here, and there's an army of people behind the scenes that are going to ensure that you're that when you're coming, as you're coming, we have immigration officers that will be able to help you with immigration. We have academic advisors that help you on choosing your courses, picking your courses, and guiding you through those processes as you go through your career at Trent University. And if you want to go study abroad, we have study abroad opportunities. And of course, we have language opportunities if you want to increase your language. And we do offer language courses for credit as well. So I'm going to pass it back to Helena, but I did want to welcome you from Canada, from the Peterborough campus right now. And we hope that you enjoy your session. Please ask lots of questions. You can put them in the chat. We'll answer those as presentations are going. And then there'll be an opportunity at the end to ask those questions. So welcome and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Glynis. That's a great speak, and nice to have you to join with for us this event. Next, we will move on to we would like to briefly introduce with you a little bit about Trent University, why students through Trent University, and why we are the #1 university in Ontario for the last 11 years. So I would like to over to Karam. Karam, could you please give the brief introductions to our student about Trent University?
Sure. And if I may, I would like to run a presentation if that's okay. I guess I can. Thank you. I'll take that. Just give me one moment.
Graham, you can share your presentation, no problem.
Oh, thank you. Just right. I'm sorry, one moment, please. Right. So welcome, everyone. My name is Khurram, and I think majority of you might have already communicated with me in the past. However, I look after the South Asia region recruitment, and I'll take this quick presentation on Trent University and what makes us so special. And our motto is challenge the way you think, and you will discover this, or rather uncover this when I take it through the presentation. Now, we have been the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario for the last 11 years. We've held that title successfully since 2010. And we are also #1 for scholarships and bursaries when it comes to dispersing students or helping them with their financial needs. In addition to that, we have about a 1:20 faculty to student ratio with about 11,000 students across 2 campuses. And 95% of the students at Trent said that they were happy with their Trent experience, which goes on to show the kind of commitment we have towards our student and their experience in learning at Trent. A quick look at the numbers and why we are one of the best. We have been, like I said, the #1 undergraduate university in Ontario for the last 11 years and #3 in all of Canada. We are also #1 in Ontario, #3 in Canada for overall reputation, besides being the #1 in Ontario for scholarships, #1 in Ontario for student services and student awards. And the list goes on and on. You'll see a lot of things where we rank, and just a standing testimony to the kind of commitment we have towards delivering quality education and maintaining those standards over the years. Now, we have 2 campuses. One of them is in Peterborough, while the other campus is the Durham GTA campus. The Peterborough campus is about 90 minutes from downtown Toronto, while the Durham GTA campus is about 30 minutes from downtown Toronto. And I'll get this question a lot of times from students, like which campus is better? I think both of them are great where they are. If you want to be on the nature side, then you might want to pick the Peterborough campus. But if you want to stay closer to downtown Toronto, you might want to pick the Durham GTA campus. It's absolutely up to you, and also depends on the program that has been offered on either of the campuses. So the Peterborough campus is about a home to 10,000 students and more than 100 program options at all levels. And we are one of Canada's safest, friendliest, and fastest growing cities. We also enjoy the lowest unemployment rate and being in one of the world's top 100 most sustainable campuses and Canada's second largest by land area. Also, we are one of Canada's most Instagrammable, sorry, this is a tongue twister, Instagrammable campus. Coming to the Durham GTA campus, which has about 1,700 students, on 50 of them are UGC, PGC, and graduate program options. We're in, like I said, it's about 40 minutes from downtown Toronto, and you can be living in one of the Canada's smartest and most educated cities. So talking about campuses, moving on to academics, explore a world of infinite opportunities and possibilities at Trent, where we've got programs like environmental and life sciences, social sciences and humanities, business administration, forensic sciences. We're the #1 when it comes to forensic sciences in Canada. We have a dedicated crime scene called the DNA, the DNA building is the crime scene, wherein students get to work on real cases, simulated cases for them essentially, and they're also working with the local police department on cracking some real cases. We also programs health sciences, interdisciplinary degrees, and the Trent Swansea joint degrees are unique collaborations with Swansea University in UK and Trent University. We're in with 2 programs. One of them is in law, that's a BA or a BBA plus LLB, and the other is our BSc plus chemical engineering program. So it depends on which kind of vocation you have in life and where you want to move on in your path. And if you can see, there are so many programs that we can offer, be it from sciences, business, humanities, environment, healthcare, or social sciences. I mean, it's an open, how to say, an openness in the system. And I'll talk more about this when I discuss joint majors, and you will understand how joint majors play an important role for your education at Trent. So essentially, as long as your interest aligns with the program requirement, you'll find crazy and the most flexible options to combine something like environment with psychology, or psychology with business, and you can go on and choose combinations, and you truly walk out with an experience that is irreplaceable and cannot be found at any other institution. Now, coming to our postgraduate certificates, we have 1-year programs. One of them is in marketing and entrepreneurship and the human resource management. These are 8 months program equivalent to 1 year. And these 1-year certificates are stackable, which means they may be combined into a 2-year program. The business, human resources, marketing, and the entrepreneurship dual postgraduate certificate is essentially the combination of both marketing and human resources management program, which is about for 2 years. There's also a professional certificate in teaching English as a second language. Now, quickly on to the academic pathway English for university. And I will not talk a lot about ESL because we've got Cass Namiko who's going to come and talk about ESL. However, what I want to discuss at the moment is that our ESL program is credit bearing and it's guaranteed admission pathway into UG and PGCs. It's a proprietary curriculum offering language instruction and preparation for university studies. There's a direct admission, or you've got a placement test upon arrival with small class sizes and full accreditation by Languages Canada. Moving on to sports, we've got varsity sports and athletics. There's a Riverside Gymnasium. There's a bottle library, which is, I think, one of the most loved things at the Peterborough campus. Carries its own unique architecture, highly digitalized state-of-the-art library. Right next to the bottle library, it's a student center, which I essentially call the student unwind zone. And you can sit there, chat with your friends, do a little bit of work, or sit by the river. Besides that, we've got a lot of clubs and societies that help students get into the cultural engagement and become part of the Trent fabric and live that unique Canadian experience where diversity stands out. So now about housing. So the most important thing about housing is that, you know, you've got several options to choose from. There, you can choose your rooms. You can also kind of choose your partners if you want to. There's halal food available on campus for Muslim students, and there's free laundry, flexible meal plan. And the best part is that you are not forced to live on campus. You have the choice to live on campus or off campus. And that is never going to be a problem at Trent University. So as long as you put in your application for housing before the deadlines, you are guaranteed a space at Trent. Life after Trent. And there's something important, and I will also be talking about what career places our alumni have gone on to, but 93% of the Trent graduates have found employment within 6 months of graduation. And the international graduates may also apply for the postgraduate work permit program, which is a very common practice amongst a lot of international students. And you can join the 55,000 strong Trent alumni chapter in Canada and around the world. So a quick look at the application process, and you can go to trentu.ca/intl/apply to put on your applications. The winter intake and basically for UG, PGC, and SL deadline carries on 1st November 2021. That is passed on. So the next intake that we're looking at is the summer and the fall intake. The summer intake for UG and PGC deadline is 1st March 2022, while the summer intake for ESL only is all 1st May 2022 as deadline. For fall September 2022, UG, PGC, and ESL, we are looking at a deadline of 1st June 2022. A quick look at the kind of curriculums that I would like to talk about and their requirements. So if you're from a British pattern curriculum, we'll be requiring a minimum grade of C in 5 GCEOL or IGCSE subjects, and a minimum grade of C into GCEAL or A2 level subjects. A grade of C or above in GCEOL or IGCSE English will satisfy your language proficiency. A2 subjects completed with a grade of C or higher may also qualify for transfer credits. For a BTEC diploma, BTEC level 3 may be assessed on a case-by-case basis. Now, next is IB diploma. We would be asking for a minimum score of 26 or above, including bonus points, and a minimum of 3 higher level subjects. A score of 5 or above in English language A would be required for language proficiency. And IB higher level HL subjects with a score of 5 or above may qualify for transfer credits. IB certificates may be assessed on a case-by-case basis, and high school transcript with grading scale would be required for that. Moving on to Bangladesh, we require a secondary school certificate and a higher secondary certificate with a minimum average of 3.5 points in academic subjects, and IELTS of 6.5 in no one less than 6, TOEFL internet based of 86 or a Duolingo of 115, or a Pearson testing of 59. Now, coming to India, the minimum average that we require, or where we start majority of the programs from, is 70% in 12th examinations. The language proficiency remains the same, and IELTS of 6.5, no one less than 6. However, if students are enrolled in CBSE board curriculum, they are exempted from the university's language proficiency requirements. Also, as another note, commerce stream students are exempted from mathematics course specified requirement for BBA only. Now, finally, Pakistan, we would be asking for a minimum of 60% above in secondary school certificate, or a minimum of 60% above in a higher secondary certificate. The language proficiency remains the same for them. Now, I would like to call Phoenix to talk about the requirements for China.
Yeah, thank you, Karan. So the admissions requirements for China will be over 75% in your average and Gaokao result, but it's optional. And the satisfaction of course-specific requirements. For example, if it's for a business administration program, you will have to have your mathematics scores for that. And for the language proficiency, it remains the same. It's IELTS 6.5, no bands lower than 6, or it's a TOEFL IBT 86, or it's a Duolingo 115 for a direct admission. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you for that. And that I'd move on to Vietnam. Helena, would you like to speak about your requirements?
So from any student from Vietnam, you will need a minimum average of 7 out of 10 point scale. And you also need to meet language proficiency, which is IELTS 6.5, no man score lower than 6, or TOEFL IBT 86, or Duolingo 115, or Person PTE 59, or you can take our Trent Esl.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for that, Helena. So I'll move on to scholarships and awards. And so when I said that Trent is #1 when it comes to scholarships and bursaries, we really mean it. So there are scholarships of up to 108,000. So that's essentially 27,000 annually per year for meritorious students to be won as international students. Now, the incoming undergraduate students are considered for the automatic Trent University entrance scholarships. That is anywhere between 1,000 to 3,000 Canadian dollars. However, the prestigious scholarships, or the international Trent International Scholarships and Awards is what we call them, require a separate application essay, and you are basically evaluated on your academic excellence, community service, and financial need. A quick look at our tuitions for the undergraduate program. We sit at a tuition of 24,250, and in total that comes to 38,558 to 44,158, depending on the kind of housing you avail at Trent. For the postgraduate certificate, the tuition is 18,200. For the Trent ESL programs, we are looking at a total of 10,398 to 14,828, again, because of the housing differences. And for the degree progression pathway, we are looking at a total of 5,346 to 5,358 Canadian dollars. Now, the fees published apply to one academic year only, and they are subject to change without prior notice. Now, life after Trent, and look at the career opportunities. Now, these are some of the places that your alumni are currently working in, and you'll see big names like Apple, Microsoft, Sun Life Financial, PepsiCo, Canadian Red Cross, Air Canada, Scotiabank, and a lot of names. You find Bridgestone, IBM, SGS. So when I look at this, I think of the amazing opportunities for students to go on and network with their peers and their alumni in order to work out a future engagement, maybe get on a project, or maybe get to work with them. So the possibilities, like I said, are endless at Trent. With that, I come to the end of the presentation. You can find more about us on trentu.ca/international. You can also see our social media handles. Our emails are given here. For China, Felix's email is pension, and Helena looks after the Vietnam area. I am looking at the South Asia market. Well, thank you, everyone. With that, I come to the end of the presentation, and I give it back to you, Helena.
Thank you, Karam. As we have a very special guest today, Miss Julia Panky from Jakarta in Indonesia. So she's the Trade Commissioner, and who is also in charge of education and infrastructure. So welcome, Julia, to our section. Julia.
Hi, good afternoon, or good evening, or early morning in Canada. Can you hear me?
Yes, Julia, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Okay, so I first would like to apologize. I'm having difficulty with my connections. Suddenly my office computer is not working, so I'm using my cell phone. I'm struggling trying to get connections from several different gadgets here. So I hope you can hear me clearly, even though you cannot see my face. I hope that's okay. Hello.
Yes, Julia. Yes, Julia.
Yes.
Please
Okay.
go ahead. Yeah, we would love to
I'll
hear.
Okay. Sorry for the connection issue, but good morning, good evening, everyone. My name is Julia Panky, and as explained, I'm the Trade Commissioner for Education at the Embassy of Canada in Indonesia. And I would like to welcome all the guests to this Trent International Mini Open Day. I'm not sure where you are coming from, but I'm pretty sure you're logging in from Southeast Asia, or at least from around Asia. It is an honor for me to be among young, intelligent, and aspiring individuals such as yourself. I am delighted that I could join this event. So I'm delighted as well that you can join and learn more about education and research opportunity in Trent University and how Trent can serve your ambitions, whatever they may be. So as explained by many of the presenters just a few hours ago, Trent University offers a wide range of programs that bring critical and integrative thinking to everyday life. The university is also recognized for its leadership in teaching, research, and student satisfaction. So international education is a priority for Canada because it makes the country even more diverse and it increases educational and cultural interactions for Canada with the world. Of course, you can choose to study almost anywhere in the world, but a few places actually offer a world-class education, plus the freedom to explore, experiment, and create, which will prepare you for whatever life will throw at you. Canada will give you all those opportunities and many more. Canada excel as top-notch study and research destinations. So by choosing Canada, you will have access to an excellent education experience, one that is rooted in a culture of hands-on learning, smaller student-teacher ratio, as well as cutting-edge technology, research, and innovation. Canada is well known for its applied learning. It is fast becoming the norm for today's university student. More than half today's undergraduate student actually participated in research and work integrated learning experiences such as the cooperative education or the work study program, internship and service learning that give students the knowledge and skill they will need to succeed. Canada also consistently ranks among the best place in the world to live and as a top destination to not only study but travel and work as well. Canada is one of the world's most welcoming country that is very tolerant. I sincerely hope that you will choose Canada for your study destination, as not only you will receive high quality degrees, valued and recognized internationally, but also most international students are eligible to work part-time while studying in Canada and also have the option to stay and seek employment in Canada under our post-graduation work permit program after completing their studies. The fact that many choose to stay in Canada after their study reflect the positive experience international students have both inside and outside the classroom. All of this provided in a learning environment that's of high quality, diverse, and one of a kind. So I hope this event, you will take full advantage of this opportunity to learn all you can about studying at Trent University and how the university can help you in achieving your goals. In closing, I would like to wish you a fruitful and informative event. And thank you again for joining Trent Mini International Open Day today. And I wish you continued success in your study. So apologize again for not being able to turning on the camera. So bon chance, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia, so much. Yes, Canada is the land of endless possibility. So we love to welcome you to Canada and to Trent University. And let's move on to our next sections. I'm sure that you want to know about it. It's about the careers opportunity, and also it's about the experiential learning at Trent University. So I would like to introduce Julia. She will share more about the career space. So over to you, Julia.
Thank you, everybody. My name is Juliana Stonehouse. I'm a student experience coordinator at Trent, and we'll get into what that means. But I'm joined here today by my esteemed colleague, Ryan Sisson. So Ryan, go ahead, do an introduction.
Thanks so much, Juliana, and greetings, everyone. So my name is Ryan Sisson. I'm the team lead of Community and Workplace Partnerships for CareerSpace, which is Trent University's Department of Co-op Careers and Experiential Learning. So Our presentation today is going to explore supports that are available to you as a Trent student, both to support your career goals, but also to provide you with meaningful experiences while you're studying on one of our campuses. So we look forward to meeting you on campus. Right behind me is our beautiful student center where CareerSpace's office is located. And we definitely look forward to meeting with you when you arrive on campus. So nice to see students in the chat commenting on offers accepted. Great news, love to see that. Because we can't see you on campus today, we actually have a short little video to play. So Juliana, could you cue that up?
CareerSpace, our on-campus center and experiential learning hub, is located on the top floor of the Student Center. All Trent students are guaranteed to have a career-related experiential learning opportunity before they graduate. Talk about an incredible way to gain the upper hand as you enter into the workforce. Through CareerSpace at Trent, students in all programs have the opportunity to tap into nearly limitless combinations of academics, in-class learning, and practical career experiences, with access to interview training, resume assistance, and a list of companies ready to give you some real-life experience. Let CareerSpace show you the way to your own unique idea of success.
So I gave a little bit of an introduction with CareerSpace, but as Ryan said, we are located on the top floor of our beautiful new student center, and the services we provide really range from helping you write a really great resume to putting you in touch with an employer that may have a great opportunity that aligns with the program that you're taking. One of the major things that Ryan and I do is we make sure that students have a hands-on learning experience or work experience while they're still in school, while you're still in your studies. Because what this does, it allows you to, after you graduate, be able to go to that interview or be able to update your resume with that hands-on learning experience. And quite frankly, employers are really looking for students that are not only coming from a really strong academic background that you're guaranteed to have at Trent, but also that work experience that complements it. So we at CareerSpace take care of the plethora of everything you need to get that accomplished.
So as Juliana and I like to say, from your very first day in class through to your first day on the job, our office, CareerSpace, can really be there holding your hand in a sense and providing you with resources and opportunities and experiences that I think you'll find very meaningful to help find how you can connect your studies to success in career, in a career of your choice, or as Karam just mentioned, life after Trent. So one of the really unique things about Trent is we've actually guaranteed that every student will have a meaningful, purposeful, and recorded career learning opportunity while you're at Trent. So we want to make sure that you don't, the first time that you meet face to face with an employer isn't after you graduate. We really want you to have those experiences while you're on campus. So let's look at some of the ways that we can support you. So first of all, we do run and maintain a student job board, and that is unique to our campus. So we have employers that are looking to post opportunities. We also have events that you can attend while you're a student to meet and engage with different employers. So we have a volunteer fair that's incredibly popular every fall. We have our annual Career and Experience Expos where we bring employers from all across Canada and Ontario, and we have a few global employers as well that join us every year. All of these events are free for students to join. This year, those events are virtual, so you can call in from your home, which is also pretty convenient. And more importantly as well, we also have recruiting fairs. So many of the employers that are looking for you to join their team will actually come to our campus, and they want to sit down and they want to meet you. So we help to facilitate those experiences.
To set you up for success while you're having those conversations with employers, we will get into a bit of the details of how we can actually support you and programs that we have available for you to take part of as a part of your student experience at Trent. So we really want to make sure that you have a really good resume. So we have professionals on staff that will sit with you either one-on-one or in a group setting to teach you all of the tips and tricks about how to write a resume. The really great thing about our relationships with all of our partners and employers is that we, as professionals, sit down with them and we ask them the question, what are you looking for on a resume? And then we get that information and impart it to you. So we're getting the most updated information on what employers are looking for on their resumes on a consistent basis to set you up for success. We also help you build your network so you can get really good references. So how to connect with people and how to connect with people in a professional way that then they remain part of your network to encourage you and to give you really good references as you move along in your career.
All right, so one of the things we like to point out to students, because they're always asking us, how can I get opportunities and experiences and build my resume while I'm on campus? Well, the great news is there are so many skills that you can obtain by volunteering or working with an on-campus job, and Trent International has an amazing program to support students in these types of opportunities. So it's not uncommon that leaders of tomorrow and leaders are also leaders of today on Trent's campus. Customer service, communication, event planning skills, you name it. We have students in research offices and supporting the work of professors like Professor Savile, who's with us today. I would also mention that regardless of what your career questions are, our staff are here to help you. So we have career resource advisors that you can meet with. We have career counselors, and they will help you to explore those big questions. How do I find a job? How do I get experience? What are my options? And the other nice thing is you might you might be really happy with your resume or your cover letter, but why not have one of our staff have a look at it and see if it can be tailored to a particular industry or a particular employer that you're looking to secure work with.
One of those major questions that we hear all the time are, what are my options? So I know that for a lot of our students sitting in their classroom and having that amazing enriching experience, learning all of the theoretical knowledge, they're thinking, well, what am I going to do with this? Or how does this translate into the working world? And so we have an amazing resource as a part of our website. It's called What Can I Do With My Degree? And it goes through every single program that we have available at Trent. And it gives you resources in terms of governing bodies that oversee those jobs, but then it also gives a whole comprehensive list of jobs that you can do having that degree. And please know that we have picked these jobs, or we have researched these jobs, because these are actual jobs that our alumni are out in the world doing. So after the presentation, I'm going to put that link in the chat and you can go check it out.
Quick question, how many of you on this call currently have a LinkedIn profile? How many of you would say that you're not nervous when you go and do an interview for a job or a position? What if that interview is for a career, for your dream job? Our office, Career Space, is really here to try to reduce the stress of some of those really significant events in your life. So one of the things we do is an interview prep session. So you can come in and we will ask you questions and we'll give you feedback to help to improve your interviewing skills. Don't have a LinkedIn profile? That's okay. Our team at Trent will help you build a LinkedIn profile that showcases your skills, showcases your experiences. And the best thing about LinkedIn profiles is you can create one in your first year as a student and keep adding to it as you gain more and more of those skills and experiences.
So something that Ryan and I have already thrown around is the word experiential learning. And you'll hear that a lot when you get to campus. And really what that means is that It's any learning that you do related to your program that's outside of a traditional classroom experience. And this can take the form of so many different things. Yes, it can take the form of a job, a paid job, whether that's part-time or full-time in the summer. That can look like an internship if your program has an internship. It can look like a placement as part of curriculum, or it can look like a volunteer opportunity. Or what's really quite incredible is that we consider any lab work in the sciences as experiential learning. It's any learning that happens where you're using your hands, you're actually getting to see something in action.
So career space, really what we do in a nutshell is we take your interests and we match them with industry, with an employer in the community or outside of the community. We have students working across Ontario, Canada, internationally. And so these employers want to work with you. They want to work with someone who's passionate, who has the skills that you'll have as a Trent graduate. And what we're trying to do is to find that alignment before you graduate. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, the nice thing is you don't have to apply for a specific program, because as a Trent student, we've actually embedded that right into your courses from first year all the way up to your fourth year of study. And we call those curricular experiences. And so sometimes those are in the traditional classroom. So you might be doing a chemistry lab, for instance. You might be undertaking a simulation. You might be going out and doing field work, testing the water of a local lake, or you might actually be going out on a field placement or a co-op, as Juliana had mentioned. We also have something called co-curricular experiential learning. And this is so meaningful, the work that students do, because it's not for academic credit. It's often because it's something you're really passionate about, right? So it allows you to, if you're really passionate about animal welfare, you might want to go and work with a local humane society, or work with our local Ontario Turtle Conservation Center, where you can volunteer to help raise turtles and care for them and learn about animal husbandry and the local biology of these species. So the nice thing is, Trent also has a program that recognizes your volunteer work in the community, and we provide you with a certificate upon graduation that recognizes all of those different efforts that you've had.
So it's always nice to hear about this sort of higher level thing, but I do want to share with you some experiences that some of our Trent students are currently having in their degree. So one of our popular programs is social work, and social work has a lot of experiential learning built into it. So currently we have a student working with an organization, a local government organization, developing programs to support immigrants. How do immigrants integrate into Canadian society? So it's a wonderful project that individual is doing. There's another individual who's going to local schools and organizing events for children and community partners to come together. And a really incredible relationship that we've worked hard to build is with local mental health practitioners. So now we have students going into those clinical practices and working alongside those practitioners to help support individuals in our community that need a little extra support with mental health.
Yeah, thanks so much, Juliana. So what we've done is we've compiled a list of some of the programs that offer field placements or professional practicums. So in a number of our programs, such as social work, education, and nursing, there are required practicums. And practicum means that you're actually required to go and spend several hundred hours working in your field before you're able to graduate. That's actually a requirement of the program. And outside of that, most of our field placement programs are optional, which means that you can kind of pick and choose when you'd like to take those field placements. You might decide that you're in your third year and you'd like to explore working with a particular type of business. Well, our offices can go ahead and try to support you in, discovering those opportunities. You might decide again in your 4th year that you'd like to do another type of field placement, maybe with a different type of business or organization, in the hopes of discovering something else that might pique your interest and perhaps change your career path. So Juliana mentioned field placements. She mentioned practicums, but I also wanted to mention there are other ways that you can gain this type of experience. For instance, performances or going to conferences and presenting, our co-op programs, which we're going to share with you in a few moments. So lots of opportunities for you.
Another spotlight, our very popular, prestigious School of Business has a tremendous amount of work experience and hands-on experience related to it. Some amazing stuff that's happening currently with students and their projects. We have a student who is working with a Canadian public firm, exploring investment and risk management strategies. So that's exciting. We also have an individual working with an investment broker on trading portfolios in a simulation platform. So that's amazing. And also we have a wonderful 4th year accounting internship. And just to talk to you a little bit about the success of this program, we've had our 2 accounting interns who were then hired by the accounting firm that they worked for. And really that's sort of the gold star, that's the expectation that we have. And we see that a lot where students are engaging in these hands-on learning experiences while they're students, and they have such a great time and they do really good work that those employers then go ahead and offer them jobs and hire them after they graduate. We'll talk about our cooperative education program. So this is hands-on learning experience that is curricular. So it's built into your program, and it's a work term and a study term and a work term and a study term for the period of your program. So right now we have cooperative education in our computing systems and conservation biology. However, we are working to expand tremendously our co-op offerings and are so excited to be able to bring you those offerings in the near future. Just to give you some examples of what some of our students are doing in those programs, we have a student currently who is working with an IT security system in Toronto, Canada, to make sure that all of that information that company is gathering stays safe. So that's a great big project for that individual. And then conservation biology, we have an individual who's actually moved out to British Columbia, who's doing a study on bullfrogs. And so far with the research that this individual is doing, it's been picked up by Parks Canada, which is a federal organization, and they're using that cutting edge research to make sure that they're protecting Canada's wetlands. So really does put our students on the cutting edge of research and policy development, no matter what program that you're in.
All right, so in close, our faculty, our staff, our students at Trent are very much committed to discovering this career journey and having these meaningful engagements in the classroom. And we would be remiss not to mention a few more opportunities that you can take part in. One of them is the community-based research projects that are available to students in their 3rd or 4th year of study. And that's a really unique program in that we take a student and we take a host organization. So this could be a community organization, a governmental organization, and they have research questions and they're looking for you to come and join their team and answer those research questions over the course of 2 academic terms. And all of this research is done for academic credit. In addition to that, we have courses that are focused in the field. So you can actually go out and do an archaeological dig on the shores of Lake Ontario. You can do an original thesis work with a faculty member. And guess what? If you don't find an opportunity that suits you, we have something called a reading course, which allows you to develop your own course with a faculty member to really explore something that might be particularly unique to you, but maybe isn't covered in depth in your program of study. So at the end of the day, we encourage you to visit CareerSpace. We definitely believe that your future self will thank you. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out to Juliana or myself. You can reach us at experiential@trentu.ca, and we'll make sure that we put this in the chat for you as well. And thanks again for the invitation to be here today. Take care.
Thank you, Ryan and Juliana, for a very informative section. I was an international student myself, but at my time, I didn't have any support from CareerSpace, so I was struggle with finding internship and find job after graduate. So our future student, please take advantage of our CareerSpace when you become Trent student. Yeah. Thank you so much. Now we are moving to our next sections. And Trent University also are well known about our student service because we committed to having students at each stage of your journey as international student in Canada. So our student-centric philosophy and our personalized support equips you to success. So I would like to welcome Paul to share more about immigration and safe arrival for our students today.
Thanks so much, Helena. Hello, everyone, and it's a pleasure to be here. It's always very nice for me to get to connect with students and parents and recruitment people before you arrive, because this is the start of a relationship we're going to have for a lot of years. I work with a great team who are experts in supporting international students. And so I was asked to come today to speak a little bit, not just about the immigration piece and the safe arrival, but also about the supports that we offer here at Trent International that are tailored for the unique needs of international students. So if you leave my part of the session with anything today, I hope it's that you feel that you're going to be welcomed, you're going to be supported, and you're going to know who to turn to when you have questions about all of the valid things you're going to have questions about when you come to study here in Canada. I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to go through a few slides that outline these different resources. So bear with me, please. Okay, there we go. Excellent. So these are big topics. I'm going to take you through our different student supports we offer and then the safe arrival. But before I get into that, I'll introduce myself, obviously. My name is Paul. I am the Global Engagement Manager here at Trent International. What that means is that I lead a really great team who provide all of the different supports unique to international students. I'm going to go through them in detail, but what I want you to know is that our team is diverse. We have years and years and years of experience supporting newcomers and international students. Many of us have studied abroad as international students or have come to Canada as international students and decided to stay. We're really passionate about meeting people from all around the world, sharing what we love about Canada and what we love about Trent, and making sure that we help you establish a really solid foundation even before you arrive, so that you can hit the ground running, you can be successful, and you can flourish as a Trent student and beyond. Additionally, myself and my colleague Jessica are regulated international student immigration advisors, which means that we have our licenses to give immigration advice to international students. In Canada, this field's regulated for various reasons, but one is that we just want to make sure that students are getting the most up-to-date advice and guidance from people who have done extensive training on immigration policy. Maybe the most interesting thing about me to share today is that I'm a proud Trent grad. I did my undergraduate studies at Trent many years ago, and I really fell in love with the culture and the community here on our two campuses. What I can tell you about Trent and what I can tell you about Peterborough and Durham is that we're just the right size. We're small enough that you can have personal relationships with people like, the team at Trent International, your faculty, other staff on campus, and you're big enough that you can find the people that are going to support you in the best way. We're right in that sweet spot in the middle. I really enjoyed my time as a Trent student. I learned a lot. After I graduated, I went on to do my master's at a much bigger institution in a bigger city, and that was fine. But when I had the opportunity several years later to come back and work at Trent, I felt really like I was coming home. Every day I get to work at, with a great team on a beautiful campus, and most importantly, with really good students. So you're joining a really great community, and I look forward to meeting you in person. Virtual doesn't quite capture the full potential of Trent, but hopefully you get a taste of it today, and I can't wait to share it with you when you arrive. So as I mentioned, the global engagement team at Trent International, we are the experts in supporting international students. I don't know what our total sum of years working in this field are, but I think together we must have a century worth of work. We've been working in this for a very long time. We're able to answer your questions in-house so often, but if we're not, we have great connections with our other partners on the campus and throughout the community. So if you have a question, come to us and we can find you the answer. And we support students at all levels of study. I saw in the chat there were some graduate level students, some master's students, lots of undergrad, probably some ESL, and maybe some of you are considering doing a postgraduate certificate. All of those are great options, and we are here to support you regardless of where you are at in your academic journey. I'm going to go through a few slides that go through the specific services we offer here in our team, just to give you some names, give you some idea of where you can seek the advice that you may need. Obviously, for an international student, immigration advising is a huge piece of the puzzle about coming to Canada and staying in a foreign country and studying. Jessica Evans is a regulated international student immigration advisor, as I am. Her primary role is to provide immigration advice to all of our students, whether they're new students, continuing students, or students who are graduating. We do this in various ways. One-on-one advising is definitely an option. You can sit down with her and walk through an application. But also for the more common topics that our students face, whether it's maybe applying for a post-graduation work permit or applying for your initial study permit, we're going to be offering regular workshops. We do offer regular workshops where we'll walk through the process of application in very specific detail. You can join with a bunch of your peers. We'll take you through the full process of applying through Immigration Canada's portal. And if you have any specific questions, we can answer them in the session, or we can follow up with a more detailed, personalized appointment. For those of you who have already applied, accepted an offer, please make sure you're checking your Trent email, because that's where we're going to be sending all of the invitations to these workshops. It's really important that you keep appraised of what we're sending out. We try to give you up-to-date information, and we try to send you information that's based on your stage of coming to Trent or studying. So keep an eye on that. Join us at sessions. Get in touch if you have any questions. Some specific immigration issues that we support with that maybe you haven't thought of yet. We just had my colleagues from CareerSpace speaking. If you do a co-op or an internship, as an international student, you may be required to get a co-op work permit. There's no need to stress about that. There's no need to worry about that even before you come to Canada. We can help you with the application mid-degree, because typically you won't finalize your co-op plan until maybe your third year. Other things, life happens. If you lose your study permit, definitely not good, but it's also not the end of the world. We can help you with an amendment or a replacement, as well as you progress through your degree and you're starting to look at your next options, making sure that you can remain in Canada legally, either through a post-graduation work permit or extending your study permit if you're doing different studies, or other pathways to permanent residency. We are going to walk you through those steps as well. So once, I know many of you are using agents right now to apply, that's all great. But once you get to Trent, rest assured that we have in-house expertise that can give you timely answers and guidance, and also save you some money, because you don't need to pay an agent to do your work permit applications. So we look forward to meeting you and talking through these different areas. For those of you who are doing ESL undergrad or post-graduation programs, Barbara Castillo-Snook is an academic advisor rather. She is an expert in all of the courses that we offer. She can walk you through planning your degree. For those of us here who've done a degree or two, we can all say with confidence that plans change. We come into university with a great ambitious target, for a specific degree, and for many of us, we may take a course in our first or second year that's an elective, and we may find our new passion. So as you progress, plans will change. You may hit some little road bumps along the way in your degree. Our academic advising team is here to help you navigate those changes. If it means changing a major, if it means adjusting a course, maybe doing a petition, we're here to help you keep your degree on track, graduate on time, and navigate any changes that you have. One-on-one and workshops are available in terms of academic advising as well. Sorry, I skipped ahead. We know here very well too that coming to a new country, a new university, a new academic context brings with it other challenges. It's not just about being successful in the classroom. It's about adapting to a new culture, a new climate. For example, today here, it's probably minus 25 degrees, which is very intimidating to those of you who are from a warmer climate. But we understand that these stresses, are legitimate, but those of us who have been here for a long time are going to help you navigate them. Andressa works with us. She's a former international student from Brazil, so she knows what it's like to go from a hot climate to a cold climate and navigate all of these different changes. Also the things like culture shock, homesickness, all of these changes that come with moving to Canada, we're going to help you navigate through our wellness supports. If Andressa isn't the person who can help you, she definitely can refer you to our more extensive wellness team at our student health services or within the community. And as well, we have a great peer-to-peer support network where you can meet with other students who are in upper years who have successfully navigated all of the same challenges that all new international students face. So Andressa is a person you'll be meeting very closely in our coming webinars and at our orientation when you come as a new student. Related to wellness, our office administers your mandatory health insurance. This is really good to know. I'm not going to go into full details, but Claudia Fong is a woman you're going to meet. She's so knowledgeable, so thorough. And if you're coming to Canada with a dependent, whether it's a spouse or a child, or just by yourself, she's going to make sure that you are enrolled in health insurance, and she's going to educate you about how to access medical care should you need it, and how to maximize your coverage. Because if you have insurance and you need care, you might as well use it to its fullest extent. Canada has a global reputation as having an exceptional universal healthcare system. We have ensured that all of our international students will have equal access to our healthcare system as a Canadian. So obviously the pandemic has heightened people's awareness of the need for access to healthcare, but pandemic notwithstanding, you have access should anything happen, whether it may be major or minor when you're in Canada. I mentioned peer-to-peer support earlier. The Global Ambassador Program is something that I'm really proud of. It's an opportunity for us to connect newly admitted students with upper year students, primarily international, but also some domestic, who are our student leaders. These are the people who have faced their adversity and challenges, been very successful, and are now assuming leadership positions within the university, in student clubs and groups, within the Global Ambassador Program, and beyond the Trent community as well. These are our exceptional students. We have a team of 30 students who will meet with you one-on-one, be it through Zoom, Skype, WhatsApp, whatever, before you arrive. And then upon arrival, they'll be the people meeting you as you get off of the buses. You'll have a familiar face. They'll introduce you to their peers, colleagues, and favorite places on campus, and just make you feel not so alone when you get off of that plane and bus. So watch your email for invitations to join the Global Ambassador Program. It's obviously optional, but it's highly recommended, and we can't wait to meet you as a part of that. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Trent International Student Association as well. TISA is the acronym. You're going to get to know this well. TISA is the largest student-led group on campus. We have tons and tons of clubs and groups that are led by students, for students. TISA is the one that is run by international students. It's an opportunity for international students to share their own culture and to learn from others. So, coming to Canada, coming to Peterborough or Durham, it's obviously going to be different from home. Canada's a really multicultural country. Over half of the people who live in the GTA in the Greater Toronto Area were born outside of Canada, which is awesome. But it may mean that you're not going to have the immersive, familiar community from home. A group like TISA is a really great spot for you to connect with other students from your culture, so you feel that taste of home, but also share the things that you love about home, be it arts, culture, food, traditions, with others, and learn from others. So there's this exchange that happens, and it's a real beautiful place. My favorite event of the year happens in March. It's called Cultural Outreach, and this is a huge celebration of Trent's diverse cultures. We have over 80 countries represented in our student population, and Cultural Outreach is a highly rehearsed and organized and auditioned performance at this huge theater we have downtown. And the whole community comes out, and students just really get to shine. So if you have a piece of home that you love, a dance, a poem, a song, bring it with you, share it with us. We would love to see it. If you want to learn other people's, we'll see you at Cultural Outreach, and you'll feel a real special connection at that event. TISA has elected leaders, so when you're here, you can vote for your president, your secretary, your vice president, etc. And these are the true leaders of the international student community. This could be you in a few years, and I invite you to get engaged and to stay connected. In addition to organizing these fun cultural events, they're also advocates for international students. They meet regularly with administration, with the international office, as well as beyond, with the board of governors, etc. And they're there to be the voice for you as international students. So, if you have questions or concerns, connect with TISA, connect with Trent International, and we'll make sure that your voices are, heard in the conversation, loud and clear. For those of you who are studying in our English as a second language program, for any of us who have tried to learn or have learned a second or third language, it's challenging. It's a real brave thing to do, and we have some dedicated supports for you. Our staff, Juan Isidro Perez, he's a former international student. He's from Mexico. He knows what it's like to learn a second language, and he works directly to support international students who are studying our ESL. He can answer your questions. He can connect you with other resources on campus. He hosts special events and trips and celebrations for our ESL students, as well as integrating you in the broader community as well. And he also helps coordinate the Trent Speaking Partners program, which is a really great opportunity for those of you who are learning English to meet with another individual and in an informal context, because it's really important to learn a language, not just in a classroom, but in day-to-day practice. So the Speaking Partner program is a really great way to meet with someone, to have a coffee or a meal and have a conversation about just normal life in English, and just practice having normal conversations. It was mentioned earlier, but Trent International does administer some scholarships, awards, and bursaries to support our international students. I'm really proud to be working on the committee that helps administer scholarships. We have well over $1 million in funding that we give to our international students this year. This is a huge help. We know that it's expensive to study internationally, but we also know that it's a really worthwhile investment in your education, and we're happy to support our top students through this funding. We have our entrance scholarships, which you will apply for now as you're coming to Trent. Some are based on grades, many are based on a combination of academics plus your community involvement and your statement of, your personal statement. We also offer in-course scholarships. So for those of you who maybe didn't get an entrance scholarship, but you do very well in your first or second or third year, you're eligible to apply for your in-course scholarship for your following year based on your academic performance in the preceding year. This is great. Obviously, grades pay in more than one way, but they'll also pay you with a bit of funding every year if your grades are high. So obviously aim for the stars, and we'll compensate you. We also recognize that life happens and difficult things happen. So in addition to our scholarships, we have emergency bursaries for students who experience unforeseen financial hardship. It might be something like, I don't know, your friend knocks their drink into your computer and your laptop crashes and you have no money to buy a new one and you have an exam on Tuesday. If you submit an application, we can help you with some funding to get a new laptop and make sure that you're not derailed in your academic progress. Or maybe something more serious happens, like there's a family emergency back home and you have to fly home, but you don't have the cash for a plane ticket right now. We have this funding for these unforeseen bursaries and unforeseen emergencies, and we will support our students as much as possible, obviously within limits, but we do help hundreds of students every year with these unforeseen hardships. And last, but certainly not least, there's so many opportunities for students to get involved on campus as community leaders. We acknowledge that through our awards. We have plaques and trophies that will, put your name forever on our walls as an acknowledgement of your leadership. We also have some cash rewards that go with that, and that helps too, just offsetting the cost of being a student. So what I hope you took away from that is that we have a great team. We're going to get to know you. Our orientation starts before you get here. We're going to have lots of webinars between now and September or May, depending when you're coming, and you're going to get to know the different members of the team in depth. What I want to talk about quickly, because I think I have a few minutes, is just what it looks like to arrive in Canada. Obviously, the global pandemic has complicated international travel for everyone. Trent International has been helping students throughout the pandemic come safely to campus. We welcomed hundreds and hundreds of students with no major issues, and we're going to continue to do the same for as long as we have to. We have a special team that we call them the Safe Arrival Team, who will guide students in understanding the up-to-date immigration requirements and preparing your arrival plan based on those requirements. We review every single student's plan before you have to submit it to the government, and we make sure that you are meeting all of the requirements to enter the country. We do this through regular webinars. We send communications to your Trent email all the time. Safe Arrival is the heading usually. And we also have been liaising with our public health agency, local governments, provincial governments, and federal governments to make sure that our policies are in line with the rules that are imposed on us by the government. So bad news for anyone that's applied for a study permit, it's taking longer than usual. That's a real challenge, and we empathize, we understand. We've tried to support you by offering many online options for studies, as well as offering options for deferring your start until you're able to come in person. The good news is that processing times are catching up. Immigration Canada has reallocated a bunch of staff, and I've been assured that by the summer, all of the backlog of study permit applications will have been assessed, and you will have a decision either way before you have to come in May, which is great. You also have to prepare a safe arrival plan. It's not complex, but it just explains the who, what, when, where, and why of why you're coming to Canada. And we will walk you through that as the time comes. The good news, once you get a study permit, you can come to Canada. You can come anytime, even if your classes start a few months in advance. And if you study online in the summer and plan to come in fall, your online studies will count towards your postgrad work permit. So this is a great news and a very good temporary accommodation for the unique challenges posed by COVID. I'm not going to go into full details about the safe arrival plan because it takes a lot of time and it's maybe more detail than you need now, but we are available to answer your questions after this webinar. I'll send an email afterwards. Our plan for winter 2022 and beyond is that we're going to continue with in-person studies. The fall term we did almost exclusively in person. It went very well. With this recent variant, we had a little delay in our start for our in-person studies in winter, but we're going to be going back to our in-person studies in February next month, a few weeks, and we foresee continuing our in-person studies for the rest of your time studying. Online studies work, but really, our campus community really works best when we're in person. Our small classrooms and our relationships that you have in a face-to-face interaction are, the best. Should the situation change, we've all proven our ability to be resilient and resourceful and to pivot. So if we have to, we'll switch again, but you should be planning to come to Canada to work on your degree. We also recognize that COVID vaccination distribution has not been equitable throughout the world. We realize that in a lot of countries where you are, maybe you haven't been able to receive a full course of vaccinations. It's unfortunate. What we're doing here at Trent is we're ensuring that students who need it can get vaccinated when they get here. We're having, we've had on-campus clinics We're having close relationships with our community clinics as well. And if you need to get a booster or update your vaccination record when you get here, we will make it a priority to provide you with that support right away. As I mentioned before, also, you're covered by health insurance. Should something happen, there'll be no cost incurred to you when you're a student here in Canada. If you have questions about coming to Canada, the email, we made it easy for you to remember. It's just safearrival@trentu.ca. It's one word, safe arrival. We monitor this email 7 days a week. We have, we're the experts in planning to come to Canada, and there's no such thing as a silly or dumb question. So please, send us a question, include your name and student number, give us a bit of information about when you're planning on coming and what your current status is, and we will follow up with a personalized response in a very timely fashion. Additionally, you don't have to remember this URL, but if you go to your favorite search engine, type in Trent University Safe Arrival, it will take you here. There is a very long document that explains all of the different immigration rules, and it's worth reviewing before you buy a plane ticket, obviously. Also, a little bit closer to the start of the term, in March, for example, we're going to start our weekly Safe Arrival webinars again. Jump on. It's a format like this, only we leave quite a bit of time at the end for conversation with you. So if you have any questions, you can just dialogue with us and we'll answer them largely on the spot. So watch your Trent email for that as well. I'm going to skip through these because this is a little bit more detailed than we need today. Vaccination, you do need to have at least your initial vaccination to enter Canada. In terms of boosters and in terms of updating your vaccines, we can do that all in Canada, as I said. We've also kept our campus safe by requiring vaccination on campus. So every single person who is studying, working, or living on campus is vaccinated, with very few exceptions for people with an approved accommodation. So Trent was a real leader in doing this, and I think it's really served us all well by keeping us safe on campus. Also in Ontario, proof of vaccination is required to access a lot of public spaces like restaurants, certain stores, theaters, etc. So we'll make sure that you have updated your provincial vaccine record and will be free to, basically live in Ontario as someone who's born here. I wanted to share this screen. It has my email. This is easy to find me. P, my first initial for Paul, longhurst@trentu.ca. Please email me, introduce yourself, ask any questions. If I can't answer it, I will find the person who can. If you have questions about Safe Arrival, as I mentioned, safearrival@trentu.ca is really the best spot to go to. I really look forward to connecting with you. I really look forward to meeting you in person and welcoming you to Canada. So thanks so much, and all the best. Stay well.
Thank you, Paul, so much. So we are moving on to learn more about the importance of academic English to undergraduate success by Trent Esl team led by Kat, who are our Director of Trent International Program, Manager Trent Esl English for University Program, with over 20 years experience in international education, including public and private sector, roles ranging from summer camp director to university international director. Kat had lots of academic and programming, marketing, and also communications team to deliver on internationalization and international business development goal. So Kat also have a master degree in leadership along with education degree and two totally unrelated undergraduate degree. Kat's commit to learning and leading their had extended beyond the work, including volunteer on the board of NGO and currently as the President of Language Canada. There is no doubt that this is fueled by passions for language, culture, and coffee. So Kat also have love for her active family and her two love golden retriever. So Kat, could you like to share with us more about Trent Esl? I know that it's really important for students from the non-English speaking country like Vietnam or Southeast Asia country. So over to you, Kat.
Thanks so much, Helena. You know, that bio talks about me having two unrelated degrees to the job that I'm doing, but it is such a beautiful dovetail into the upcoming panel discussion that we're going to have on the value of an interdisciplinary education, because it really does point to the fact that what you take in university may not be the area that you end up spending your professional life doing. So we'll talk about that a little bit more very soon. The other little tidbit I want to share with the students here today is that I'm also a Trent mom. I have a daughter who is currently in her second year of her program. She is doing the Trent Business and Law program in partnership with Swansea University. So, you know, again, this also speaks to the opportunities and the flexible learning that exists at Trent University. And it's certainly something that if you haven't considered yet, you certainly can consider still. So it also just gives me a perspective on what it's like for a student from a mom's perspective. I can answer any questions if your parents are sitting with you right now, and they please ask questions in the chat and I will follow up with them after I'm finished speaking with you about Trent ESL. So I'm just going to pull up my presentation, which, just 1 second, bear with me. If I do this and then it's not showing my presentation as an option. Sorry, well, if not, I'm just going to speak. My slides are not so stunning that you're going to miss anything. But I do want to talk to you about the ESL program. Before I say anything about it, I want you to know that there are, if your English is minimal, there are people on this webinar who can help you in your first language. So if you speak Mandarin, we have Felix, who is based in China and who can answer any questions if you want to put them in the chat. And Helena, of course, our Master of Ceremonies, can answer any questions in Vietnamese. And I didn't notice anyone from Latin America, but there is another open house coming up after this, and there will be Spanish language available there. So for those of you who are coming from a country where English isn't the first language, you may be required to demonstrate your English language proficiency skills. Ways to do that would be, of course, to submit an English proficiency test that is standardized, like an IELTS or a TOEFL. And sometimes that score is enough, and sometimes that score is not quite high enough to let us know that you are ready to start your degree in English. And doing a degree in English, and when English is not your first language, is one big undertaking. So it is to your advantage to make sure that your English language proficiency is ready. So the way we do this is through our ESL program. You don't have to submit a test result if you feel like you know already that you're not going to get a 6.5 with no band below 6 or any of the other metrics that are needed to get into the university directly. You can simply apply to ESL plus your degree, and you can come into your university program, whether it's undergraduate or graduate or a postgraduate certificate, through the ESL program. We will then assess you and assess your language skills, and you will be placed in the best part of the program to match your current level of English. Our English language program is a pathway into the university. So it is designed specifically to develop your language skills, as well as help you develop your academic skills so that you will be a stronger university student. It covers all of the language elements such as reading and writing, grammar, vocabulary, listening, speaking, pronunciation. All of those skills are central to the program. But as you move up the program, you also develop academic skills such as note-taking skills and listening skills in a lecture situation and seminar skills and research skills and documentation skills so that you know how to be a good university student. Study habits, time management, organizational skills, all of that is built in to the way the ESL program is designed so that students come out feeling confident and ready to start their degree. The added benefit is that at Trent, the highest levels of ESL are university courses. They're credit courses. They're part of your degree. So it's not discounted or separate from your actual university study. It's integrated right in. You receive academic credit for those ESL levels, and you can even add additional courses from your undergraduate degree or elective courses, so that by the end of your first year of study, you're actually well into having completed a first-year undergraduate program. That means that over the 4 years of your undergraduate degree, you will actually be catching up and completing ESL and your degree within the same time frame. That saves you time and that saves you money. So for an international student where your finances are a consideration, and for most of us they are, this is a great way to take advantage of getting the best preparation for study in the minimal amount of time for the greatest value. The other benefit of studying ESL as part of your undergraduate program or your university education is that you have the opportunity to work while you study. So that is a distinct advantage of being part of a university environment for your language studies. You can get a job on campus and work legally in Canada while you are an ESL student. And you've already heard that our office hires international students. Many of the faculty on campus hire international students as assistants in some capacity. You might have, you might want to hold off on those really specific jobs until you're in those higher levels. But the truth is that as an ESL student, you are legally allowed to work on campus while you are still in ESL. So we have, that's the gist of the ESL program. It is a great value. We will have more webinars and sessions specific for the ESL program. We will also have many more sessions coming up specifically about scholarships, specifically about applying to Trent, and specifically about other admissions related topics. We will also be resuming or starting again our Ask Me Anything sessions, which we did last year on Fridays. And that's just a time when it's a less formal structure and you can talk to one of our local reps who are here today or other reps and students as well, and get a sense of all of the burning questions that you have, all of the answers that you need to help you begin your undergraduate degree and to also adjust to life in Peterborough or in Durham and get a sense of what the environment is like that you're living in. Because really, the best part of your undergraduate education is by being engaged not only in the classroom and with your faculty, but also outside of the classroom with clubs, groups, residence activities, international student activities, going on trips, excursions, getting familiar with our downtown areas, and really just connecting with other people. So hopefully you meet lots of other international students and lots of Canadian students, and you have the time of your life. So I will pass it back to Helena. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kate, for your wide sharing. And Felix, you were an ESL student, right? Then you studied the degree, and now you are trained representative from China. So would you like to share with our students today a little bit of your experience as ESL student and Trent University student?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Helena, and thank you, Cass. Hello, everyone. I'm Felix, and I'm the representative of China. But also, I was an ESL and undergraduate student at Trent starting from 2014. When I first landed at Pearson Airport alone, I got picked up by our student service teams right away. After a long wait in the line of the visa and the study permit process, trust me, you will appreciate a warm welcome from our international office team and transported safely to Trent. I started my study life in ESL after the orientation, where I learned everything I need to know to live and study in Peterborough like a sponge. It was great to have a group of international students from all over the world who faces the same language barriers around you. You get to learn together, and all problems were solved not by yourselves. And all the instructors from ESL are super friendly. They care about your academic performance for sure. What's more, they care about your success in the future. A writing conference every week, you get to sit down face to face with an instructor, just ask any questions about writing your essay. It's truly a boost on your academic skills, and you will find that out in your first year in undergraduate. And on the other hand, multiple activities other than study will help you get used to the life at Trent. For example, we had a trip to the Niagara Falls, and we had a pen pal program, which you can write a letter to your little pal every week. And we had the speaking partners, which you can get a upper year student who speaks your native languages and show you around the city. So all of these will help you to be happy and successful. Trent student satisfaction rate is above 95%, and I'm proud to be one of them. So if you have any further questions about your life at Trent, I'm happy to share. And just type in the chat box, and you can type in English or Mandarin, I can help you. Now over to you, Karam. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that, Felix. So our next session is with our plenary panel, where we discuss the importance of an interdisciplinary education. The topic for today is interdisciplinary education, embracing the future. We are joined today by our two guests, Dr. Richard Hurley and Dr. Barry Savile. It is a pleasure to introduce Dr. Hurley from our computer science program. He has worked with Trent International to create distinct learning opportunities for cohorts of visiting scholars, and has always welcomed these groups into his classes, providing open access to learning. Students have referred to Professor Hurley as a dedicated teacher who brings to the classroom a commitment to education and an exceptional level of knowledge that is always in pace with the ever-changing nature of computing. His research interests range from distributed systems and performance modeling to liberate learning. Welcome, Dr. Hurley, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I look forward to talking to the students.
Thank you. I would also like to introduce another panelist, Dr. Barry Savile, who is an assistant professor in Trent Forensic Science program. Is an associate professor in the Trent Forensic Science program, is an expert in areas of molecular biology, genetics, agriculture, plant science, and forensics. He's an associate professor, and his main interests, because these are, he's using the model pathogen. I'm not even sure how to pronounce it, but it's Stalagomedes, and he would have to correct me on that, to develop DNA-based tests for species and strain identification in the forensics context. This fungus has been indicated as a potential vehicle for biocrime. Dr. Savile teaches a new course on biocrime and bioterrorism and oversees the independent projects and research thesis courses. If you're interested in reading more about Dr. Savile's research, please visit the Savile Laboratory. Welcome, Dr. Savile, and thank you for coming in today.
Thank you. It's a real pleasure. I really I'm enjoying the session so far. It's wonderful.
All right, so we begin with our first question, and we'll go to Dr. Hurley first. So at Trent University, interdisciplinary roots continue through to our teaching and learning today. Why is interdisciplinary education still relevant today, and what are the main tenets of an interdisciplinary education?
Well, thank you very much. Well, with respect to computer science, computational methods are an integral part of probably most other academic disciplines. Like we're involved with everything. We have computing and biology to create bioinformatics. We have computing and business to create information systems. We have computing and English to create technical writing. We're really part of everything. Computing and forensics is probably one of our most popular joint majors. We are pretty much part of any other academic discipline. I think probably the main tenet from my perspective is the breadth of knowledge that you get. A student will learn 2 disciplines. They'll be comfortable to be versed in both these disciplines, and they'll be able to apply that knowledge across a greater area.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you for that. And Dr. Barry, what are your thoughts on this? Is interdisciplinary education still relevant today?
Thank you. I think that interdisciplinary education is more relevant today than it may have been in the past. And that is because, well, I mean, we're seeing it every day in terms of how rapidly things change. This COVID situation has really pushed us in terms of our needs and abilities to move from one subject to another. And you just never know where your opportunities are going to come. For example, my background, my original degree was in botany. So I'm a plant biologist by training, right? What I noticed in my 4th year of undergraduate education is a love for molecular biology. So that I went on and did my graduate work in molecular biology and DNA analysis. And then as a professor at the University of Toronto, a student came to me and said, could you use your expertise to help me develop an identification for magic mushrooms? So magic mushrooms are illegal, right? And so we wanted to do a DNA-based analysis of magic mushrooms. And so there you are, an interesting thing where I'm moving into forensics now as a researcher because I've got a background of botany and molecular biology. So there's an opportunity that comes around. And so I have then got much more interested in forensic science and DNA analysis in forensic science and moved that into my current position, not only as a professor in forensic science, but also as the director of the Master of Science of Forensic Science, which is Canada's first Masters in Forensic Science. So there's a lot of things you can do. So you need to have that breadth of background that Dr. Hurley talked about, so that you could take advantage of these things. And in forensic science, for example, we learn about science, but we also learn about law. And law is a very different mindset to forensic science. And forensic science itself is extremely multidisciplinary. Chemistry, physics, biology, psychology, all of those are wrapped up in forensic science. So it really gives you a nice breadth of background. In fact, I tell my forensic science students that they have the best, one of the best science backgrounds of any degree on campus. But that law thing, it really changes your mind. It's almost like a left brain, right brain kind of thing. And so you get to share and learn in both realms. And it really makes you well prepared for whatever might come next. I'm starting to ramble, so I'll stop.
No, that was all. Thank you so much. But so adding on to that, what does an interdisciplinary degree look like at Trent in terms of major, double majors, minors, and specializations? So how would you advise students navigate all of these options?
You want Richard to answer that first?
No, yeah, I'm happy to say thanks, Barry. Well, in computer science, interdisciplinary studies really typically is in the form of a joint major. And it's really kind of marrying 2 interests that students would have. So a student would take computer science as one of their joint majors, and then they would pick their other discipline. And we've, over the years, had a number of very interesting joint major degrees. We've had students who majored in computer science and history, computer science and English, computer science and French. So it's not just limiting ourselves to computer science and another science. In a lot of cases, it's not. It goes in the form of a social science. Computer science and psychology becomes cognitive science. It's really a matter of picking and choosing your path. You're only really limited here by your own imagination. It's really what academic discipline do you want to add computing to? So from our department's perspective, it's really a joint major is the main vehicle for doing this. That being said, we do also have some specializations. And for those students that are not familiar with the specialization, it's courses you take in addition to a single major. So you're replacing your single major electives with specific courses to accomplish a specialization. One of our most popular specializations is with the business program. It's an e-commerce specialization. So students that are doing a BBA can take some courses in computing, courses like web applications development, databases, obviously your programming courses, a course in online marketing, project management, and they can create an e-commerce specialization. So a business student can go off and work more in the digital realm, if you will, for business than kind of the brick and mortar.
Well, thank you. What are your thoughts on that, Dr. Barry?
I just like listening to Richard, so it's fun. So similarly, in forensic science, as I said in the previous session, it in and of itself is a very multidisciplinary endeavor. And so we had initially the Bachelor of Science in Forensic Science degree, and I said it's a great overview of science. And I can say that because I'm a Trent person and I really like the degree, but I can also say it because when I have a student that comes through our program and comes into my graduate lab, I realize how well trained they are. And so I really like that degree. But then we realized that students might come into that program and then decide, oh my gosh, there's so many attributes to this. I have a student come to me, for example, who said, well, I did a placement when I was in the BSCFS program in anthropology, and now I want to do anthropology. And so we set up a program where now you can have joint majors in forensic science and all of the other sciences. And so she then switched to a joint major. So you can explore these interests. We have the specializations in law and policing. So on top of it, like Dr. Hurley said, you can take extra courses to emphasize law and policing within forensic science. So we have the joint majors, we have various specializations, the Bachelor of Science, Forensic Science, Bachelor of Science, Forensic Biology, Bachelor of Science, Forensic Chemistry, and one of our major joint majors, or the most popular joint majors, is Forensic Science and Psychology. But we also have joint majors, Forensic Science and Computing, Forensic Science and Biology, Forensic Science and Business, or Women's Studies, or, there's all sorts of things you can do. And I really think it gives you the preparation or the ability to explore your interests beyond the core. I hope that answers it.
Indeed, it does. Continuing with you on that, and I'll go back to Dr. Hurley after this. So you've got a lot of professional programs that are available to undergraduate students. So what is the importance and added value of an interdisciplinary degree then, when there are so many professional programs available?
Okay, well, if you don't mind, I'd like to go back to the previous question, because Dr. Savile reminded me of something I should have probably added.
Absolutely.
That students that do pursue computing science as one of their joint majors can do it from both a BA and a BSc perspective. So yeah, that's an important thing. We're not limiting ourselves to the sciences. Certainly a student that does a joint major with business would end up with probably a BA, but a student that does something with forensic science, like computer forensics, would end up with a BSc. So both options are available for our students in that area. So getting back to the question about kind of what are the added benefits of doing an interdisciplinary degree, probably from my perspective, the number one is the breadth of knowledge. You're really becoming an expert in 2 areas, sometimes 3, depending on the level this goes. So you really have the ability to talk coherently across a number of different areas. And that's really important. Having those levels of expertise also helps to enhance your critical thinking skills, because now you're able to draw on multiple areas of expertise to bring that information together, to synthesize that information, to be able to be a stronger critical thinker. I mean, Trent is wonderful this way, because you're able really to to build your own pathway. You're not limited to kind of the stock degrees that you would see at other universities. You really do have this ability to craft your own education, which is, I think, a really unique experience and certainly something that's very powerful for your end game.
Right. Now, thank you for your thoughts on that, Dr. Hurley. Dr. Barry, would you like to add something to that?
Yeah, I think that we consider forensic science kind of a professional degree. And one of the things that that we do, in addition to the great expertise that you've talked about here in terms of training students, is that in our program itself, we offer in the Bachelor of Science, Forensic Science, or the sort of what we call the core programs, there's a potential, as you mentioned, to do a placement. And you can't do that placement without having a course that trains you in how to approach that. So we have a course on how to present yourself, and like has been talked here, creating a good CV, doing good interviews, a whole bunch of things like that. So it gives you the soft skills as well. So the professional programs allow you to gain those soft skills as well as the core science or arts knowledge base that you have. And so I think the professional programs really give students a leg up when they're going to move on to the next stage of their career, whether that's in graduate studies or in the job market, because they get to learn better how to present themselves and to present ideas. And I think that really helps the students in moving forward.
Right. Thank you for that, Dr. Barry. So going back to Dr. Hurley, so my next question is that the post-secondary landscape has shifted towards employability as a main driver for seeking higher education. How does an interdisciplinary education contribute to this pursuit of a career post-graduation?
I think the world we live in now, adding computing to any degree, any academic discipline, improves your chance of employability. We were just involved in a program review ourselves, and our statistics the last number of years show 100% employability for our students. And that's a pretty strong statement to make, I think. It's just, I mean, it's the reality of where we currently are. Computing is ubiquitous. It's everywhere. It's in every other academic discipline. So I think if programming, software development is not your forte, then pursue computer science with something else. You'll end up perhaps as a system analyst, as a technical writer, but there's so much opportunity out there now, and most of it does need some degree of computing associated with it, whether that's done as a joint major, a specialization, a single major, or even a minor. One of the things I didn't mention in the past was a minor as an option for students that are doing a single major in another discipline. A minor is 5 credits, so it's basically 10 courses that a student would take, and the courses would be obviously distinct in computer science. But even that on top of, or in addition to your single major, will increase your chances of employability dramatically.
Indeed. Well, thank you for that. So, Dr. Barry, what are your thoughts on it? How do you think
I think it's really interesting, and I just want to give props to the computing science. I work in genomics and transcriptomics for my major focus. And some of my students come to me and they say, well, what should I take? And I say, well, you better take bioinformatics. So you've got to do that combination of computings and biology. But one of the things that I think is really interesting about a joint degree or just having experience in different areas is what you can gain as a student from those different areas. Now, despite the fact that I say, forensic science is wonderfully multidisciplinary, the fact of the matter is that different degrees offer different real good strengths. I had an example of a student that came to me who said, I'm doing a joint degree in forensics and psychology. And usually I'm a nitty-gritty molecular biologist and my research is nitty-gritty molecular biology. So I thought, well, okay, I'm not sure about this student. But she proved herself to be exceptionally adept at picking up things. but then she brought some strength to the table from her psych degree, most specifically their great stats. And she actually came into my lab as an undergraduate and was able to inform my PhD students on a better way to do stats because she had that diversity of background. And so that diversity of background, so that's in a graduate situation. But you can see then where in a job situation, I'm writing a letter for that young lady. I'm saying she has this amazing diversity of knowledge, and that makes her very appealing to people in the workforce. So,
indeed, well, that definitely makes a lot of sense towards interdisciplinary education. As a matter of fact, just wanted to cite a small example. So I'm a computer science engineering graduate myself. Thoroughly enjoyed the program, but never got into programming. But I picked on marketing as one of my subjects, and then I went on to work in the marketing, and then that led way to my MBA, and then I got into advertising. And then after like working a lot, and I realized, I worked across several industries, and I've learned so much in my program. So where can I utilize that? And here I am in recruitment, trying to guide people the best way. But anyway, so back to Dr. Hurley. And so this question is, so what do you consider to be the distinct features of a Trent University degree?
Well, that's a really good, I actually spent some time thinking about this because that's a really good question. I've been at Trent for 31 years. I was here when Trent University had 3,000 students. There was many buildings that didn't exist that exist now. So I've seen a tremendous amount of change at Trent, and all for the good. To me, and I come from other universities, obviously, having done my undergraduate and graduate studies at universities. Trent, in my perspective, is probably the leader in interdisciplinary studies across Canada. I'm also an accreditor for computer science. I travel to other Canadian universities looking at computer science programs. Absolutely, I always try to bring that Trent interdisciplinary component to other universities because I think it's such an amazing opportunity for students. Some universities are so strict on these are the courses you have to take, this is the path you have to follow. To be able to craft your own path, I think is absolutely amazing. Students at Trent, as I mentioned in the past, can really custom design. They can actually create their own custom degrees that fit their own interests. And again, applying computing as part of that will just simply increase their chance of employability. But to me, interdisciplinary studies is a Trent thing. It's something that we should market, we should put out there, we should teach other universities how to do this properly.
All right, thank you. And Dr. Barry, you are a faculty instructor in research in your field yourself. What do you consider to be the distinctive features of a Trent University degree?
So I'm going to relate it to my own personal experience and to our degree. And so my research interest is in studying disease-causing organisms, which is pertinent in a world where we have a pandemic. And in fact, I teach a course on this. Those are considered relatively applied sciences. And at some other universities, studying the applied sciences is frowned upon. It's more, you have to do pure sciences, and it's a real problem. For example, I was working in Toronto and I was trying to get access for my applied studies on the computing centers and the genomic analysis centers. And I didn't have the ability to get access to it. So I came to Trent, and I remember from my interview, and I talked to people. We have this great DNA center in the DNA building, and I said, "Wow, this is the kind of thing I wanted access to at U of T. Can I have access to this?" And so the head of that lab said to me, "Well, of course, that's what we do here. We are open and we interact with everybody." And it was like, oh my God, this is just awesome. And so that really got me excited about sharing with each other, right? And sharing that ability to work in different fields. And it really it really gave that advantage. Now, then, if you take that into our program, it's an applied science. So forensic science is an applied science. So we need to be able to give students not only the knowledge base from experts, such as myself and my colleagues, Chris Kyle and Aaron Schaefer and Sanela Martek, who are really great scientists, but we also need to be able to give them some of the practical knowledge. So we have professors who have been officers or forensic science investigators for years coming and offering our forensic science crime scene analysis courses. So these are people that have 30, 40 years of experience teaching our students from their experience base, whereas we teach them from a knowledge base. And that fusion is just not something you see at other universities, even other universities that offer forensic science. Further, we have this emphasis on law. Since forensic science is the application of science to law, we really emphasize law, and a lot of our competitor universities don't. And once again, that's an aspect of the multidisciplinary nature of Trent, and allows us to do that, and it's embraced by the administration as opposed to having to fight for it. So I really think that is a major advantage, and honestly, I feel it gives our students one up on any other program.
Awesome. That's great to hear. So I'll move on to our next question and go back to Dr. Hurley. So Dr. Hurley, you must have worked with a lot of students. So what are some of the most remarkable program combinations that you have encountered?
Thank you for this. Again, I spent some time thinking. I actually made a list of some of the joint major combinations that have existed in the past, and I'm sure I've missed some, certainly, but yeah, it's quite a list, really. I used to think at one point that we were probably the most interdisciplinary program on campus. I found out that's not correct. I think forensic science is probably ahead of us in this case, but I've got a list of 14 possible joint major combinations and what they mean. I promise I won't go through and read all of them, but just to give you an idea, computer science and psychology, that kind of makes cognitive science. It's been a very popular joint major in the past. Computer science and physics, we actually have a computing and physics degree. And one of the things that's coming out of that is kind of a push towards quantum computing. Now we're in talks with physics to create exactly this course. And obviously this is a great time to be involved in quantum computing because we're at the precipice of really looking at some major changes in computing power as a result. Computer science and math. I mean, computer science was created from the kind of the bowels, if you will, of math. That's where we came from. We were simply created to make math easier, but certainly a lot of students are doing a computer science and math degree. I did mention computer science and French at one point. We had a couple of students at one point that were doing computer science and French. And interestingly enough, one of those students is actually used as an expert witness in trials in Quebec, because they not only can do computer science, but in software issues in Quebec, they speak the language. So that's an interesting combination that led to an interesting, this is obviously not the person's full-time job, but it's an interesting kind of part-time endeavor. Computer science and economics, digital economy. One of our past chancellors, Don Tapscott, was an expert in digital economy, and that is computer science and economics being put together. Computer science and geography, geographical information systems, computer science and statistics, that's data science. There's just so many opportunities. As I mentioned, computer science and history, modeling, they actually use game software to model ancient battles. It leads to interesting, like in terms of computer game development, but you need to understand the history to be able to do the computer science to create the game that people pay $70 a pop for. So yeah, lots of really interesting joint majors we've had in the past. And as I said, I'm just scratching the surface.
Indeed, I think my favorite's got to be computer science and French, for sure, and computer science and history. Never thought that would be applied in that way. So thank you for that, Dr. Hurley. And Dr. Barry, what are the most remarkable combinations that you have encountered?
Wow, I don't know if there's a most remarkable, and I think that Dr. Hurley's examples are really great. So forensic science, and one of the things I didn't mention earlier, and it came up in a chat question here, is that forensic science also offers a Bachelor of Science in Forensic Science and a Bachelor of Arts in Forensic Science. And so we have the possibility of doing joint majors in science with, biology, chemistry, physics, computer science, environmental and resource science, anthropology, mathematics, psychology, etc. So a lot of science fusion degrees there. Our most popular ones are forensic science and biology and forensic science in psychology. Forensic science and chemistry, we've now amalgamated the two. We actually have a specialist degree in Bachelor of Science, Forensic Science in Chemistry, or Forensic Chemistry. But we also have the BA. Now, the BA is a really interesting one from a perspective of multidisciplinarity, because it's a BA in forensics, but we are a forensic science department. And so it could be a BA with forensics with sociology, politics, women's study, indigenous studies, economics, environmental resource studies, psychology, or anthropology. But it's tough, right? Because we also are going to ask you to take some of those sciences, right? So you're going to have that arts degree with some sciences that you have to take from the forensic science program. And as such, I think you have a very diversity. It's almost like an applied science degree or a sciencey arts degree. And so it's a really multidisciplinary degree. And I think it really bodes people well. And some of the arts degree, those students, they're tough because their background isn't in science. They come into my introductory crime scene investigation course and they say, I don't do science. And I say, I do. And my job is to get the ideas across to you. And so I had a student who just entered my course this term, and she said, I'm in sociology. I don't know if I can do this. And I said, well, you've got the textbook, read a couple chapters and see if you can get the essence of it. We're not going to talk about the nitty-gritty in this initial course, but we're going to give an overview. And so I've been really, really impressed by how some of these art students can come into a science course and gain that knowledge, and then either move on and do another science course or stay in the degree or just take that away with them. And that kind of interdisciplinarity is, I think, amazing from my view of the student's point of view. I still like my forensic science and psychology example because I've had such good luck with those students, but that diversity is really cool. One of the most flattering things that ever happened to me was in my introductory CSI course, one of the students who always sat in the front row, and I've got like 250 students in the room, right? So I recognized her and she came up to me and she said, Dr. Savile, I really enjoy your lectures. Can I invite my friends in psychology to sit in on your lecture? And I thought, oh yeah. And so they sat right up front. And I told her, no, you've got to bring her to my lecture on drugs, because that's my most exuberant lecture. And so, yeah, it was really cool. And we could share that knowledge from the sciences to the arts. I think that's one of the most exciting things that I enjoy.
Indeed, absolutely right about that. Okay, so we've got two more questions, and I'll move to the second last one. So that's open to Dr. Hurley at the moment. So I was thinking about the Trent University graduates or alumni around the world. What great things have you witnessed as outcomes of an interdisciplinary education?
Before I start, I have to comment. I love Vivian's picture. I love her cat. I think that's an amazing picture. I'd love to meet her cat. In terms of our graduates, again, my comment going back, I started here 31 years ago. At that time, computer science was only available as a joint major. So a student had to take computer science. At that time, we called it computer studies. We had to take computer science with another program. So when I look at that group of graduates, this all the way from kind of 1991 to 2000 when we had a joint major, when I look at that group now, I'm looking at a group of people who are leaders in their own areas. We have one graduate who's a VP at Toronto Dominion Bank. I have another one that's pretty much at the very top of Statistics Canada, Revenue Canada. So here are students who have done joint majors. The example I gave about the TD Bank was a student that did computer studies and environmental sciences, only because the student had to have a joint major at that point. So yeah, we've had some pretty amazing graduates and where they go. We have students that work at Google, Microsoft, certainly all the big banks. We have our graduates there, and these are graduates that have gone through and done the joint major. But in terms of more recent graduates, as I mentioned, computer science and French, that's an example from about 7 years ago. Computer science and admin, again, we have lots of students who go take this degree and they go off and work typically in financial institutions, but they do extremely well because, again, they're well versed in both areas. Computer science and biology, bioinformatics is, again, a great area, and it's a thriving area. It's where employers are looking. Computer science and statistics, data science, again, huge industry right now, and it's just exploding in terms of that area. And computer science and English. There's a real need for people who understand the technology and who are able to be able to write, to be able to create the documents that you and I read, to be able to help us understand the software. So yeah, we've had some really interesting graduates in the past, but certainly many that have gone on to be captains of their own industries. We have students that are creating their own companies, from scratch. We have several local students, several students who have set up local companies and are now hiring their own students. So yeah, we're really, really proud of our graduates. They've gone into amazing things.
Oh, well, thank you for that information, Dr. Hurley. I would be coming back to Dr. Barry, and I would like to know, in your domain and about the alumni around the world, what great things have you witnessed as outcomes of interdisciplinary education?
So unfortunately, I don't have a lot of international examples of successes, but the national examples are pretty stellar. One of the examples I do have is a student that joined us in the Master of Science of Forensic Science from Great Britain, and is now working in a lab in Great Britain and taking that expertise there. And she got that position right out of the degree. So really, and in fact, we arranged a placement for her with that research institute from Trent. So she was doing that in Great Britain at the time. So really cool ability to do that, and then led to a job for her. We've had students come through our program and go on to do amazing things. And a few of my ones that I remember most top of mind are students that I interacted with on in my lab or whatever. So there's a young lady that went on, and she's now doing postdoctoral research at down in MIT and at Harvard. So she's doing an analysis. So she's taken her forensic science degree and the science background she's gotten, went and did her PhD at the University of Toronto. And then she's down now in Harvard, MIT, and she's working on a pathogen and it's causing a real problem in Africa. So really cool stuff that she's been able to do. Another student, the psychology student's now doing a postdoc at Waterloo. I've had students go on and do professorships and all of this sort of stuff. That's really cool. But we have students that have gone on to be medical examiners. So a medical examiner position, there's only very few of them in Canada because it's a very official position. And so you have to have forensics background and an MD. And so this person went on from our forensics degree, went on and did their MD, and is now a medical examiner. Really cool. One of my students worked in the head medical examiner's office as a research associate there. And it was really fun because I keep in touch with them, and I was saying, so how did your day go? And she said, well, it was a pretty good day. We had mostly strangulations. And it's just like, okay, so this is a conversation you can only have with a forensic science student, right? And she said, because strangulations in terms of the autopsy results are relatively straightforward. And I thought, wow, okay, that's a neat thing. But the students have just been all over. They've done everything. What I'm finding right now is that in Canada, we're moving towards, the police services are moving towards having civilians do their forensic analysis, not just officers. And forensic science, certainly at the master's level, we've had our students move into those positions. In fact, we've had those people that are running the police services contact us and say, how can we write up our job description to hire your students? And so our students are now in those positions and hiring, as is they are with Dr. Hurley's students. Our students are in the positions with these police services where they're actually hiring. So they're Trent grads hiring Trent grads. Why? Because of the quality of our interdisciplinary education. And I think that to me is just like, wow, like I think we're starting to make a difference, and it's real, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I think I was tongue-tied.
Yeah.
But splendid. I would say great to hear that. So with that, we come to the last question, and Dr. Hurley. So this one's starting from you again. For the students thinking about your area of expertise, what will they experience in your program that is distinctly Trent?
Well, it's hard to follow up a discussion about strangulation in medical examiners, but I'll do my best here. Also, Dr. Savile and I should probably have spoken beforehand, because what he says always triggers me on recollection. And so, a graduate that I probably should have mentioned, I absolutely should. We have a graduate of our program who is a Canadian Research Chair in Biomedical Studies at Queen's University. So here's a student that her area of expertise is computer-assisted surgery. So that's quite a statement to make from a Trent interdisciplinary, because Dr. Simpson graduated at the time where he had to do a joint major. So yeah, we've had some really amazing, but yeah, hard to follow up strangulation. In terms of the thing that I think that distinguishes us is the quality of our instructors. Now, again, being the senior person on the committee, I've been involved in hiring selection of each of the instructors that we currently have. So one of my main goals in hiring is to find a good teacher. Research, absolutely important, but it's not just about research at Trent. Research is extremely important, but you have to be competent as well in front of the classroom, because we want to be able to provide that information to the students so they do learn. So absolutely at Trent, and I'm looking across at my colleagues, other disciplines, we hire excellent instructors. So I'm really kudos to all the departments and the jobs that the personnel committees do in hiring. So absolutely, that to me is the number one thing that makes your experience at Trent unique. You're going to have good professors. And I think the other thing that always comes to my mind is the ability to kind of craft your own degree. That is something that is so unique to Trent, and something that you won't get anywhere else. You were able to custom design your own degree to your own expertise, to your own interests. And I find that students always do better in something they enjoy doing. So by picking areas that you like, obviously you're going to put the effort in, your interest is not going to wane, and you're going to come out with a good, solid education that you can apply in many different areas.
So thank you for that, Dr. Hurley. And with that, I come to Dr. Barry. So your area of expertise, forensic sciences, what will a student experience in your program that is distinctly Trent?
So in the program, regarding this program across the world, our program has a great combination of that applied knowledge and the core knowledge. And that is, I think, something that is distinctly Trent. The other thing, as Dr. Hurley mentioned, is our ability to do those joint majors, to take advantage of the interdisciplinary nature of Trent University. It's not available in other universities generally. And so those are really distinctly Trent things. The success of forensic science has allowed us to work with the administration to do one of the most amazing things I have ever been involved with, though, and that is to design and build from the ground up a training facility for forensic science. It's one of the few in the world where we actually have a purpose-built training facility for forensic science. It's modeled after the Ontario Provincial Police Research or Forensics Labs, and it's really an amazing facility for education of forensic science students. So I think that's pretty distinctly from Trent, and and I really thank the administration for investing in that.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Barry and Dr. Hurley, for a lovely session and discussion on interdisciplinary education today. Would really appreciate your inputs for today's panel. With that, I open the floor to any questions related to the topic only. So if anyone has any questions around interdisciplinary education, we are open to that. Apparently not. I guess we did very well then. Okay, so with that, I'll give it to Felix, who's my colleague, to take it from here. Thank you, everyone, and over to Felix.
Thank you, Khurram. Thank you, Dr. Hurley and Dr. Savile. Very good conversations and answers. And now our student panel with our student ambassadors will gladly give us their perspective on their Trent experience and how to become a successful international students. Today, we have Sharon from psychology to share you with some pieces of advice.
Hello, good morning to everyone in Canada, or Peterborough rather. It's just, the sun's just coming up. But hi, my name is Sharon. I'm a third-year international student from Mumbai, India. I'm doing a double major with psychology and sociology with the specializations in psych development and health studies. So it kind of ties into the interdisciplinary stuff that was just spoken about. So this is my third year at Trent, and I came here about almost 2.5 years ago. And one of the reasons that I picked Trent and what kind of set it apart is really the fact or the feeling that I got from sessions like these and the programs that they had. And really the way that it was communicated to incoming students, that it had a feeling of collective belonging, which I personally think is of importance when you're going out of your own country to a completely new place, as students especially, because many of us are just getting out of school, of high school, so it is going to be a very different environment. And right after coming to Trent is also it kind of added on to that feeling, because I came to Trent pre-COVID, so we had orientation week and all that stuff for incoming students in person, and it was really quite different than what students after the pandemic have experienced. So my experiences as an incoming student have been much different from what it is now, but having been on the orientation team during the pandemic, I was really thrilled really to see how much effort students and faculty and all employees and everyone, the staff on campus, are putting into trying our best to make all incoming students feel as welcomed as we can. And which is often harder when you're not either in the country as an international student, or in a new country and not being able to sort of get involved on campus and stuff like that. But in addition to that, I think there are a bunch of other resources on campus which also help my transition personally as an international student. And also I had the opportunity to be involved in my years here with these programs to help other incoming students, a lot of whom were international students, to kind of get involved on campus and feel more integrated into the Trent community. One of the really good ones I would want to mention is the Bridge program at Trent, which helps students into a university transition, because a lot of the incoming students are coming from different backgrounds of different work environments, like whether it's high school or a professional work environment. So coming to a university environment, which is really quite different, can feel very overwhelming at times. So this program was, from what I experienced with it, was very helpful, and a lot of international students were also involved in it. And last year it was online, but I'm still in contact with a lot of students from the program, and they do say that it was really helpful, and they gave them an idea of how it's going to be when they actually come start the semester. And it reflected when they actually did start the semester, because they had the opportunity to kind of have many assignments and stuff like that in that program. I'm sorry if I'm talking too quickly. I just wanted to cover as many things as I can in this time. And one final thing is that I wanted to touch on. Even after coming to Trent in person or online, there were so many resources that helped me, and also at this point giving me the opportunity to give back, to help incoming students, whether international or not, to feel more like as a community at Trent and be involved and welcomed at Trent. The Rebound program is another one, a great one, which helps students to connect with other students on campus, which gives it again a more sort of collective sense, and helps with academic stuff. So if you have any questions about that, you're connecting with an upper year student who has experiences similar to what you're going through right now, to sort of talk to about and figure things out with them. And also peer support is an awesome resource for emotional student support as well. Again, you connect with another student just like yourself. So all of these resources that I found on campus after joining Trent, it really helped me sort of, it's like, okay, I guess I made the right decision, because whatever I perceived before coming to Trent from what was communicated to me through programs and sessions like we have today, really spoke for itself when I actually got involved with these sort of programs and things on campus with clubs and groups and everything like that. And I think that's gist of what I had to say. I hope that was helpful, and I hope all the incoming students coming to Trent really do enjoy their time and transition smoothly as much as they can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for your sharing. And now it's time for our open mic. So ask our faculty and the students anything you want to know. And we are here on the mic and also in the chat box. If you have any questions, just type in the chat or just open your mic and we can hear you.
We had a lot of great questions in the chat, so I'm not surprised if our students are feeling like they've had an opportunity to ask those questions. And sorry about my pup. You can always contact us at international@trentu.ca. We're always here for you.
Yeah, just to wrap it up, here's all the ways that you can connect with us. Either scan the QR code or go to our website, trentu.ca/international. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and WeChat channel. And you can send emails to international@trentu.ca or call us. We have different overseas offices here to support you locally. So don't hesitate to connect with us. Thank you so much for today, and thank you so much for being here. Okay, here, and good night. Have a good evening, good morning, and have a good day. Bye for now. Take care.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.